Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode, I guess, of the Coach's Core. Dean Johnson, if you can't see my name underneath, but I'm here with my good mate Roscoe Brown from Grimsby. He's going to have a little chat with me tonight and speak about his experiences here in the US and how he's got to where he is so far. So, if you don't mind, Roscoe, can you just introduce yourself, give us a little bit of information about you and where you're coaching, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me, Dean. I appreciate being the first guest. That was a very warm welcome there.
Only the best for the big man, you know.
So my name's Ross from Lincolnshire, England. Currently coaching at Tiffin University. I'm a grad assistant here. Done 1 year here so far. Absolutely love it. Hoping to be here for another couple of seasons. So,
Okay.
Yeah, we've got high expectations for this program and looking forward to the future.
Okay, so obviously, first question that's going to come about from a lot of people have been asking me, like, what are you guys doing right now? Because all this madness that's going on at the moment, and obviously all the boys, I'm assuming, have got sent home. Are you kind of doing virtual stuff with the boys right now, or is it just we're leaving them to do what they want, or are you kind of advising them through that period?
Yeah, so when this whole situation occurred, we kind of gave the lads a little bit of breathing space. We went from training 5 days a week to completely nothing, and it was a bit of a shock to us all at first. So we let them have a little bit of breathing space, and then we got back on it, And what we've been trying to do is just keep up with them as much as we can through Zoom calls and things like that, just to track their progress and how they're getting on. And what we've been doing is we have a strength and conditioning coach, and he's been doing a great job. We use an app called Push. So every week he uploads like home workouts and things like that with using minimal equipment. So all the guys can do that and access that from home. So that's just keeping them fit, and we're just trying to keep them engaged as much as we can. Keep trying to challenge them and send them things to do. And one thing we've been working on recently, which we're trying to get out to them very soon, is put together like a weekly schedule for them, something to get back into a routine. I think everyone knows it's healthy to be in a routine, and especially at this time when your mindset's not quite there, and it's challenging for a lot of people. So we're putting together this weekly schedule. We'll have sessions on that, just even technical sessions, fitness sessions, and then things where they can watch a game and then report back to us on what they thought to the game. They can concentrate on a player in their position, and then kind of just
that from me, by the way.
Yeah, and then just refer back to us and discuss, what they liked about the player in their position, what they did well, what they didn't do well, things like that.
Okay, nice. So you guys are obviously using Zoom then. Is that like a weekly thing then for you guys, or is it every couple of days? Or
yeah, so we've only done Zoom calls a couple of times now. So we're trying to do this every couple of weeks just to keep up with them. And one of the main important things that we tried to do was make sure they were keeping on top of their classes as well. So yeah, that was obviously quite important that the guys are passing classes, and if they were having any troubles, they could speak to us about it.
I mean, I think like from our perspective, we were pretty lucky that nothing like this ever happened. When we were playing, or even when we were together at Wayland and Texas, none of this kind of stuff happened. So how do you think as a player you would have dealt with that, having to go home, do your classes online, no training anymore, not being around the lads and that? Do you think it would have been difficult for you as a player, or you think you would have dealt with that pretty well?
I think it would have been pretty difficult. I think the whole distraction of going home and being around your friends again that you grew up with. Again, I think it's just it could be a distraction to some, but I think the best case situation for a lot of people at this time is to be around their families, so that's important. But yeah, for myself, I would have found it hard. I probably would find it difficult. I think you've just got to keep yourself busy and keep doing what you do. You go from being a student athlete where you're constantly doing things. You've got your classes, you've got practice to worry about, games coming up, and to completely nothing, it can be difficult.
Okay. So obviously we just kind of led into that you yourself played out here as well in the US. Obviously a lot of boys come over now from foreign countries and a lot of similar situations, a lot of different ones as well through different agencies and different companies and stuff now. How did you kind of end up over here? Because everyone's story is a little bit different. Now you've obviously played and now you're into coaching, but how did you end up coming over here in the first place?
Yeah. So I was, at the time, I was at Lincoln College. I was with their academy there, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. We'd train 3 times a week, play games once a week. I was working on like my BTEC there. And then after that, I was planning to go to university in England. Coming out to the States didn't really. I mean, I would have loved to. I wanted to, and I just didn't think it was realistic at the time financially.
You're a bit of a big time Charlie. Thought you were going to boss it over here, or
not that at all. Just financially, what I had heard about this whole college in America.
Yeah, it was mad expensive and stuff.
Yeah, I just didn't think it'd be realistic for myself and my family at that time to be able to afford it. And so with that, I was applying for universities back home, and somehow I got accepted to I think I was going to go to Sheffield Hallam.
Yeah, because your SATs must have been
shocking.
Bit low now.
Yeah, absolutely shocking. I'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was at college and I was playing men's football for Louth Town. And then Simon Bird, who played at the University of Louisville, he was the assistant coach at this time at St. Catherine College in Kentucky, NAIA school. And so he's a guy from Lincoln. And basically he got in touch with myself and this other lad called Brad, and just said, have you thought about coming out to the States? And with that, he kind of did the whole process for me and helped me through it and got me out here. So
didn't he send like a group of you to the same school as well, though?
Yeah, there was a few of us from around the Lincoln area. There was myself, Brad, Harry, Joe Jessup was already out. So yeah, we had a good connection there, and that made it all a lot easier going with 3 or 4 guys from the same area.
For sure. So you were there 2 years now at St. Catherine's?
Yeah, I was there 2 years. Loved it. Had some great times there. I felt like we weren't going to get to where I wanted to go. That's why I met a guy called Matt Lowndes. You're quite familiar with him, Dean, aren't you?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And so I played with him in my second year. And basically me and him said to each other one day, we said, why don't we look to kind of get out and look to fulfill our goals as players. So that's when we got in touch with you, Dean, through Matt, obviously, because he knew you through the junior college in Wyoming, right?
Yeah. He went the same one I did.
Okay. And then, so we got in touch with you. And I just remember you saying to us, look, lads, I'm going over to Wayland Baptist University in Texas as the grad assistant at the time, wasn't you?
Yeah.
And I remember you just saying, lads, if you want to come over and win, then come with me, Yeah. And that was the biggest attraction for me. And I just, at the time, I just wanted to win.
I think it was tough leaving your friends and that to kind of, I guess, better yourself at a program you thought was going to help you more. You think it was tough to leave the other lads behind?
Yeah, of course it was, because a lot of these guys I started the whole adventure with. But yeah, I think it was just time for me to experience something else. And I always said to myself, coming out to America, that I want to make the most of this whole experience and experience as many things possible as I can. And the school that I was at was small. I was in the middle of Louisville and Lexington, so it was a good area. We could our social lives were good. We could go to either city and party and do all the good things. But from the football standpoint, I couldn't see us progressing in the way that I wanted it to.
Yeah. So then obviously you came over to Texas with us and joined up at Wayland and had a decent couple of years there with us, we could say.
Yeah. You didn't lie when you said come over and we'll win. Immediately, the guys that you brought in, I think we all hit the ground running, and I think that's probably what you expected.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about Wayland that I think made us really successful as well was the guys that did come in that year were all kind of new, but I think they also meshed really well with the guys that were already there. They had some returning guys that had been there a couple of years, and I think it was kind of weird because everyone kind of meshed pretty quickly. And I don't know about you, but I still speak to a lot of the guys from Wayland. I know obviously we talk, but I still speak to like Tato, and like you wouldn't kind of put them relationships together at the time. But I think the group meshed really, really well together, and that was part of the reason we were fortunate enough to be so successful there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just a great group of guys, and it's quite rare to find that where you get the right characters that it just all fits together, and that's what it was. I don't think we had too many big time Charlies. We didn't have too many superstars. You had your average players like myself, Ryan, who I'm sure he won't mind me saying that, but we just wanted to kick people and win headers. But the right balance is what made us win. And I think.
Do you think there was anything kind of? Obviously, the first year we done really well. We won the conference, but we didn't kind of complete our goal, which was to win the national championship. And then we obviously went on and done that the second year. Do you think there was anything that kind of changed in between them years to make that difference?
I just remember that the first year at Wayland, it was in the opening round of the national tournament at Mid-America Nazarene. And I remember I messed up for the first goal. I don't know whether I was nervous or what it was, but my legs just didn't seem to move, and a ball dropped into the midfield. I should have stepped, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And anyway, they've scored from it or whatever, and then a few minutes later, I don't know if it was before the half, a ball's been whipped in, and I've headed it back across to Quinny, who's just headed it in. Bit of a rare goal for Quinny using his head.
Sneaks up when we needed him.
Yeah, that's it. And then I just remember the last few seconds of the game. It was like a long ball.
I remember.
Yeah, it's a long ball over the top, and the lad's he's just lifted it over our goalkeeper, and there was literally 4 or 5 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, I think if that it was
a
heartbreaker, wasn't it, at the end of the?
Yeah, it was. So yeah, referring back to your question, I think what changed really from that year to my senior year when we won the national title was, I think we were hungry because we didn't want to experience that again. And I think we knew we were probably stronger as a team in our senior year, in my senior year. And it was, like I said, it was the right group of guys, and we just picked up momentum and we just kept going and going. And
I don't know if you remember this or not, but when we lost that first year to Mid-America, obviously everyone was really upset, and a lot of people crying, especially the senior boys that weren't going to have a chance to kind of avenge it. I don't know if you remember in the kind of huddle after, I told all you guys, like, just remember this because next year we're going to be back. And the weird thing was that we actually went back to Mid-America, the exact same team, exact same round. And, the game is a bit of a blur to me, to be honest. I just remember Luisito hitting one top ins from outside the box. And as soon as that goal went in, I was like, yeah, it's a done deal. We're going to win this game, no problem. And we were lucky enough that we did, and we went on. And I think you're right. I think it was just a great group of guys together at kind of the right moment, if you like. Yeah. And I think that's something that's kind of massively underrated in college soccer is you can have all the best players, but if it's not a great group together, then it's never going to really work out like that. So I would agree with you. I think that's something that kind of massively helped us that year.
Yeah, I think at that point where you're playing in a national tournament. All the teams are there for a reason. They're all good. It's what sets you apart. And I think what set us apart was the fact that we just wanted to play for each other. We were, as corny as it sounds, we were brothers out there, and we just wanted to win and do whatever we had to.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough about the baller Ross Brown. Let's go into the coach Ross Brown.
Yeah.
Obviously, you came with me first year out of graduation and jumped into coaching at Northeast Texas. And how was that for you going from being a player? Obviously, you were a captain at Wayland, so you had some kind of leadership skills.
Yeah.
But how was it going from a player straight into a coach and kind of coaching that first year at Northeast Texas?
Yeah, I think the transition for me was pretty easy. Like you said, I've always been a leader in every team that I've played for. I captained a couple of teams since I've been out here in the States, Wayland, and then I captained an MPSL team called Midland Odessa Soccers. So I think the transition into coaching for me it felt pretty natural. I think it was what I found hard was kind of putting aside that, okay, I'm no longer a player. I can't always jump into sessions. Now and then you can, but that kind of had to stop. And you're trying to gain immediate respect as a coach, so you can't be getting the ball down and playing with the guys. But it was a good transition, and I think the situation that I landed myself in, going with you to Northeast Texas, was what I needed at that time. I was still am, obviously a young coach, and I just wanted something else, and I kind of just went into it without thinking, is this really my best career? Is this what I really want to do? But I took a bit of a gamble, and I've loved every second of it. And this is
kind of leading off that. I think a lot of people are in a similar situation. For me, like, coaching was never really what I wanted to do, if that makes sense. I kind of just, I guess, fell into it. Was it a similar situation for you, or had you always been like, what, I'd like to be a coach, I think it's a good career for me? Or was it just kind of the same thing, like you kind of fell into it and now you've realized maybe it is something you want to do? But how did it work for you?
Yeah, I think obviously you only get your 4 years to play in the US, and if I could, I would have loved to carry on playing, but at the time I needed something, and I think I fell into it, but I just knew that I just needed to be around the game. Didn't matter what position it was, I just wanted to be around football, and lucky enough, I had you to give me that opportunity.
So going forward now, obviously you're at Tiffin as an assistant. You're going to be there for a couple of years. What do you see kind of your aspirations coaching wise? Are you looking to stay in the college game? Are you going to try and be a head coach one day somewhere? What are your kind of aspirations in that department?
I want to stay in the college game. I think I'm quite well suited to it. I think I'd be interested in getting into club and things like that for more of the development reasons. I think that's very rewarding. But for me, the biggest thing that I want to do is win, and I just love the competitiveness of college soccer. For me, moving forward, my goals eventually, I want to be a head coach. Right now, my mindset is just I want to just learn as much as I can from the people around me, and from just try and get as many experiences as I can.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, obviously you got Rudy down there who's going to be a good mentor for you. I think he's definitely someone that is going to help you out in the long run. A good guy down there, runs a really good program. So I think you're pretty much set there in a good place for yourself. How would you kind of, I don't want you to throw away any of your tactics or anything, but when you're bringing over a boy, to Tiffin in Ohio, is it a place that is a pretty easy sell for you guys? I know you usually bring in a lot of international kids, so you're not doing too bad, but how do you kind of explain to them what they're coming into at Tiffin?
being completely honest with you, try and stay away from the location. It's not fantastic, and I'm never going to lie to anyone. But this isn't the big city life. It is a small town, and it's really not a selling point to many, is it? But I think the main thing when kids are wanting to come over here and play college soccer is that they want to be in a good program where they can develop as a player and they can put themselves in the best position to win. So I think that's the best selling point that we can offer. And I think using the success of this program, of course, that helps us out massively. And I was fortunate enough to walk into this program where, credit to Rudy, he's produced a great program. You know, it's well known all over the country as a top Division 2 program. And lucky enough for me, I managed to land myself a coaching position here.
Yeah, that's great. So before we go into anything else, there's something I always like to ask guys, especially guys that come over from other countries. Like, if you had to pick, a couple memories that you remember throughout your time, as a player, as a coach, kind of wherever you want to do your journey over here in the US, what would be the things that kind of stand out for you that you're like, that was a great memory for me?
Memories. Of course, the biggest memories was 2017 national championship. That's just going to stay with me for the rest of my life, And what's quite funny is we still have the group chat with all the guys from that year, and we're constantly posting pictures in there and having a bit of banter and things like that. But some of the memories that we had there and that year was just fantastic. But of course, I just remember everyone probably would ask me about that national championship game and how was that? Was that pretty memorable? I'm not going to lie, it was a shocking game. I don't know how well you remember it, Dean, but it was just a slugfest, wasn't it? It was terrible.
I think at that point everyone's legs were just gone. The whole tournament was a good tournament, to be fair, but I think at that point in that final game, everyone was dead. I can't remember if it was the final or not that Fede came off and he was cramping.
Yeah.
And he cramped for about 3 minutes on the side and was like, put me back in.
Yeah.
I think that was the final game. But yeah, I think by that point everyone was just finished at that point in time.
Yeah. And then another great memory of mine is, especially in coaching, was when we beat Tyler in the season. Was it 2-1? We went 1-0 down.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I just remember that day, and it was the rain. It was crazy. I've never seen rain like it in Texas, and it was absolutely smashing it down. And I think it was Dehaney who scored both goals.
Dehaney scored the first, and your boy Ronaldo put one, didn't he? Top corner from the left.
Right, yeah. Unbelievable feeling, that one. Obviously, the first time we played Tyler, we took them to overtime, didn't we?
Yeah, another heartbreaker again.
Yeah, it was an absolute heartbreaker. They just beat us, didn't they? And obviously, you going away to Tyler Junior College, which are an absolute powerhouse. But to take them to overtime was brilliant. And then you think, we've got them here. And then we just lost with a few seconds to go, whatever it was. But then we got redemption and we beat them at home.
Yeah,
that one.
Well, I'm kind of annoyed at you that the one memory that don't stick out for you is Tayoon and Sahong's performance in the cafeteria.
Okay, yeah.
For me, that's probably one. I've been in America for, I don't even know now, 10, 11 years, and I don't think I can ever forget that moment.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, like a lot of English guys, when they come over, they bring the initiation tradition, if you like, over with them to the teams. And we had a couple of Korean boys at Northeast Texas who honestly don't think I'd heard Tayoon talk until the initiation. I don't think I'd heard him talk, and both the boys were really, really shy and they didn't want to get up, and then they ended up getting up, and I've never seen a performance like it. Like both of them, what was it they sung? The
Gangnam Style, wasn't it?
Gangnam Style. They were up there. I think they did an encore.
Yeah, it was.
They did an encore. They went back up.
Smashed it. Yeah.
like the whole cap was on fire, everyone was crying, like that is a memory for me. That take the soccer part out of it, like that for me is why you want to be around the game, because if you do a regular job, you don't get that kind of team environment anymore, and memories like that. I think that's one that will always kind of stand out for me. I don't think I'll ever be able to forget them two because of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of initiations for a lot of coaches that they'll always remember, and that's one that for me stood out massively.
Yeah, I see a lot of duets since I've been in America,
yeah?
But that one's just absolute belter. And
mate, to be fair, the Japanese boys did a duet this year, and they had a pretty good go at it as well. They sung I think it was a Disney song together, and again, they couldn't even speak English really, and both belting out Disney like they do it every day. So I think the team stuff like that as well is really important when you're looking at building that culture together as well. So before we get you off, I think the last thing I really want to ask you is, if you were given advice to, let's say yourself coming over as a freshman, what kind of advice would you give yourself? Is there anything that you would kind of change about your journey if you,
as a freshman?
Yeah, if you say you were coming over in August.
What advice? Yeah, probably just try and. I think it's difficult for a lot of people to adapt to the US life and the lifestyle of it, but I think you've just got to kind of let yourself go and embrace it, as much as you can. And whether that is just mad experiences like shooting a gun, that's something that we don't do back home in England, and you've got to do that. You've got to come here free and just,
if you like.
Yeah, exactly. Just accept it and just embrace it as much as you can, and just try and make the best situation out of it all.
Okay. And then there was one I forgot I was going to ask you. So you obviously played in the NAIA, you've coached in JUCO, you've coached in Division 2 now. Never D1, I guess you weren't good enough, mate. But apart from that, what a lot of questions I get asked from guys coming over is like, what's the difference? A lot of people would say, JUCO's at the bottom and then Division 1's at the top, which I don't kind of necessarily agree with. From your perspective of things, having been around, a lot of the divisions, how would you kind of rate it out, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think that, it's a good question. I think a lot of people want to know this one. Based on my experiences, I think the junior college level is brilliant. I've seen some fantastic junior college teams. If I could do the whole thing again, I'd probably go down that route of JUCO and then transferring on. Okay. Just because I think, there's advantages of JUCO. The schools are cheaper, but from a standpoint of football, it's a great level. There's some really, really good JUCO teams out there. I would probably compare the NAIA with Division 2. I think it's pretty similar. I think it's quite broad in terms of the level of teams across the whole spectrum of it. I think some teams that I've come across are nowhere near the level of some of the better teams, and that gap is what kills it, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of frown upon NAIA soccer or whatever, but they don't understand that the top teams are top teams. These guys can, in Missouri Valley, Central Methodist, they can compete with a lot of the top Division 1 programs. I'm pretty sure in that. I'd love to see that happen, and
it'd be nice.
Why that's not been created, I don't know. But in terms of Division 2, again, it's a great level. I think the top 25 teams, top 30 teams at Division 2 will give some of the big Division 1 programs a very good go. I do believe that. I think the difference is that the level of guys that we're looking for, a lot of, if we see that level in an American, they're probably going to be at a Division 1 program. Mm-hmm. But so many international players from all over the world that have just So yeah, I would say NAIA Division 2, pretty on par.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the program. Like you said, some of the JUCOs are going to be better than some of the Division 1s, Division 2s.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends per program. And there is lower level programs in every level, and there's obviously higher level programs in every level. I think it's just picking the right program that fits the person, and again, that comes into bringing over the right people instead of just looking at a soccer player. So I think you hit the nail on the head there a little bit. So before we get you off, we'll keep you for like another minute or so. And in regards to August, the season is kind of a bit crazy right now. No one kind of knows what's going on, but let's say season goes ahead as planned and everything is running as normal. What is the goals for you guys down there at Tiffin, and what's your expectations for the year coming up?
Yeah. This spring this off season we've worked hard in terms of recruiting. I think one of the reasons we haven't got as far as what we should is down to squad depth. I think that's a huge thing and a huge factor in getting far in the season, because we all know how intense college soccer is. It's over a short period of time, a lot of games to fit in. You need that depth within your squad, and last year we got to the second round of the national tournament, and I think that's maybe what killed us. We couldn't really look to the bench as often as we'd like to. So that's something we've gone away this spring, and we're working on making more of a deeper squad. And in terms of goals for us, I want to try and be realistic. Again, we want to win the GMAC conference. Last year, for me, not good enough at all. We actually finished 4th in the regular season. Yes, we went on to the tournament and won that, and that's when it matters. But for me, I want to finish first in the regular season. I want to win the tournament, and I want to be the best team in the region. I want to win the region this year.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I think we all need to aim as high as we can, and for us, it's a national championship.
Yeah. So you got a good group of core guys coming back, you think, returning wise, that are going to help you out, and then just adding that depth is going to be the change you guys need over there.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some great players coming back, returning. I'm expecting a lot of big things out of them. These guys are more experienced now, and we need them to carry the team, But yeah, we're adding a few bits to it, in the hope to be better than last year.
Okay. One last thing. I'm sure a lot of our former players are probably going to watch this when they notice that it's me and you having a chat. So if you had to pick one player that you've played with or coached as the best player that you've seen in America, who would it be?
That's tough. Coached as well.
Coached or played with? Let's go. All right, let's go. Played with and then coached.
Played with would be Lockie Roos from Australia.
Lockie, if you're watching, you got a little shout out there, my friends.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sing his praises too much, but yeah, good player, very good player. Bossed it, MVP of the national tournament.
Yep,
quality. Coached. It's tough, man. It's tough. Probably Alfeu at Northeast Texas.
I knew he was going to go with that. The centre back union right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just class. Quality. There's not too many things you need to coach him with. He's an experienced player. He's got a big future ahead of him. And
Jamie at Oklahoma Wesleyan's got himself a little steal there, hasn't he, with him? So
yeah, he has. He's class. He's got a big future ahead. I'm excited to see what he does.
All right, mate. Well, I appreciate you coming on and being the first episode. Hopefully, we can get a few more banged out pretty quickly and get you back on. Maybe we'll get a little reunion one going sometime down the line with a few more Wayland boys. Awesome. And get that done together.
Yeah. All right, Dean. Appreciate it.
All right, mate. I appreciate it. We'll chat to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.